All righty. Yeah, so it's been almost a year, and we're kind of just reviewing a lot of the classical kind of poses we've been doing all year. We kind of focus each month on like a different variation or different orientation of your mindset toward the practice. And like I said in my email, sometimes the hardest thing is just coming to class or just getting to your mat if you're doing a home practice. Last year, right after we started the Vital Bones, we actually, as I talk, we can kind of just shift back and forth and wake up the hips a bit. We started a 3-week practice trying to get into more of a consistent home practice. And I'm happy to do that again. Maybe next month we could do that. Would anybody be interested in trying to do a little bit more of a home practice, learning the ins and outs? Yeah, a few of you? Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll set that up. So that'll be more of a, you just get a tinier practice for yourself to do more often, because sometimes it's not, accessible to do a whole hour practice. Hi, Karen. Thanks for coming. But we're gonna just kind of become more aware of our body, shift the hips from side to side, maybe do a little hula hooping or shift from one foot to the other. Just do whatever kind of calls to you naturally to be aware of your body and space. So the 3 main benefits of yoga for bone health, one is to bear weight. Like they talk about bearing weight to build and stimulate bone, and just standing is bearing weight, right? So sitting is the new smoking. Sedentary lifestyle, that's going to make us not require our bones to be strong, but standing or doing even just simple things like this, if you're making dinner and you're shifting from foot to foot, you're starting to get more weight bearing into the legs and the hips and the spine. These little movements can make a big difference in helping to stimulate the skeleton. And then every one of the poses that we do in our practice has a weight bearing element to it. Maybe you're just holding your arms up, you're lifting up in a tensile strength, right? Maybe you're shifting into the more on one leg and more than the other leg. So there's weight bearing aspects. There's balancing. So if you're coming to one leg, shifting to one leg and the other, we're sort of challenging our proprioceptive responses to our body. All these things make a difference in having us be more responsive to the world around us. And so just spend a few moments stretching and whatever feels right for you. So be very mindful, nothing too fast or lost the word. If you were unexpected is the word. So just kind of resist into the shape of your body. Come into that shape and then come back to your mountain pose. So finding a standing position where it feels very strong and rooted. So your feet are about hip distance apart. You're spreading the toes nice and wide. And you're pushing the feet down into the mat, like you're rooting down into the mat and pushing the feet away from each other. So you kind of get more and energize up into the upper legs. The knees stay soft so you can actually access the upper legs. And then feel for the pelvic floor. So the sit bones at the base of the hips are drawing toward one another. The pubic bone and tailbone draw toward one another. Rise up through the pelvic floor and draw the lower belly in and up. So now the pelvis is securing the base of your spine. And then migrate the spine forward into the body. The collarbones go broad. The arms are down alongside your body and you're feeling weight through the wrists and the fingers. And balance the ears over the shoulders. The collarbones stay broad. And you're finding your breath. So just turn your gaze down. Be aware of your internal experience of this shape, bearing weight just from standing. Turn your attention to your breath. The most important piece of it is your breath, bringing up in and out of your nostrils. And slow, deep inhales and slow, deep exhales. And feeling the support of the space around you. So this sense of calm helps to increase our rest and digest state so that we are absorbing the nutrients, we're digesting, we are not stressed, we are not excreting osteocalcin from the bones. From a stress state, we are drawing everything we can into a more maintenance mode of the body, repairing, supporting, building. And to raise your gaze up to be aware of your place in your room. From this standing position, just using the standing position as a breathing exercise, flipping the palms, push the air up overhead, keep rooted through the legs as you reach up through the fingers, and then turn your gaze up and touch at the top of the inhale and pause. Exhale, flip the palms, push the air out and down, turn the gaze back to neutral, come down to the mountain pose again, pausing at the bottom of your exhale. Inhale, reach the hands out and up, push the air up, gazing up and looking up. And exhaling out and down. And one more time like that. Inhale, reaching out and up. And exhaling out and down. Nice. And go ahead and do that one more time at your own pace. Follow your breath. Nice. And when you complete that one, you can pause. We're going to do that one more time. And I want you to follow the focus of the breath in the arms all the way to the very end of that exhale. So what I see some of you do is like when you get down here, you just kind of let them drop. So the whole transition between pose and that whole moment is about staying really present with what is all the way through the practice, including the very end of the exhale and the hands come down. So let's do that again together. Inhale, flip the palms, reach the hands out and up, push the hair all the way up overhead and touch. And then exhale, flipping the palms all the way out and down. And touch. Nice. And go ahead and do that a couple of times at your own pace. Your breath may be faster or slower than my breath. So I want you to just move, connecting, synchronizing your movements with your breath a couple times at your own pace. All the way to the very bottom of your exhale, you move the hands. Kind of like a Tai Chi move, being aware of the movement of your body and breath together. Nice. And completing the one you're on, and do one more after that. Nice. Okay, so now we're going to sink into our chair pose. So everything's going to squeeze to the center. Either you actually physically bring your toes and ankles, knees and thighs together, or you keep them apart and then you just kind of squeeze to the center, imagining you have a block between your legs. If you have a block handy, you're welcome to place a block between your thighs. You're going to bend the knees over the toes and the hips over the heels, keeping the spine nice and like sort of balanced over the ankles. Finding that balancing position. And then from the base of the spine, rise up through the arms to the hands, holding the hands kind of forward and up. And notice what makes sense for your shoulders. Maybe the hands coming lower makes better sense for your shoulders. Maybe you can come up a little higher. Maybe that makes sense to bring them lower. Maybe having the hands on the waist is the best one for you. Or hands out to the side. That's a nice option too, Kendall. That's great. Finding strength in the legs, breathing here. We're warming up the longer, deeper, thicker muscles. Finding that deep, deep inhale, deep, deep exhale. Holding and building strength. On your next inhale, you'll straighten your legs, maybe reach the hands overhead, come back up. And then exhale, slowly lower the hands back down by the side, all the way to the bottom of the exhale. Beautiful. Nice. Let's do that a couple more times. So sink into your chair pose, maybe a little deeper this time. Keep the chest lifting, tailbone heavy, lower belly drawing in and up. Maybe holding the hands up, maybe out, maybe waist, maybe at the heart. Always choose a different arm position that works for your shoulders or your level of comfort. Breathing here. Nice, Heidi. And pushing to the legs. Inhale, coming back up. Maybe reach the hands to the ceiling again. Exhale, reach the hands out and down. Yeah, this is warming of the body, using those muscles. One last time, sink into your chair pose, maybe a little deeper. Pressing through the feet. Notice if you're using too much of one part of your body. Feel balance through the toes and the heels. Recruit from the lower belly. Recruit from the chest lifting. Choosing the arm position that works for your body. Finding the deep breath. Lovely. And pushing through the feet. Inhale, straighten the legs. And exhale, slowly bring the arms back down to your mountain pose. Nice. Okay. Lovely. Okay, hands to your waist. You're going to separate the feet far out to the side. Way far out. So now you can see how the weight bearing shifts in a different direction into the hips. Where the big toe and pinky toe mound are grounded evenly. Inner and outer heels are grounded evenly. And they're nice and wide. And so you've moved along your mat appropriately. I don't know if I don't see the mat in some places. Yeah, there we go. And then maybe turn the right toes toward the right. I'll do my right and turn the left toes in, heel slightly out, bending into that knee. The chest still stays to the side. So you haven't moved the chest, you've just rotated that hip out to the side. Right. And then pushing the feet down and away. You're still pushing them down and away. Maybe feel the inner thighs scissoring apart. Spreading the toes wide. Maybe separating the feet even a little bit further apart. For some of you, if the knee is going over the ankle, I suggest you just move the back foot back a little bit. Instead of coming up out of it, you kind of sink a little deeper and just separate the legs further. Nice. Okay. Push the feet down and away. Rise up through the crown of the head. Broaden the collarbones out to the side, holding them up. And then turning just your gaze over your right fingertips, your front fingertips. Feeling that base of the pelvis, drawing in and up. The spine migrates, the chest lifts, the gaze is steady, and the breath is long and deep, giving our bones a moment to react to this shape, this bearing of weight in these angles, connecting all the way from our toes to our fingers. And then taking an inhale here. Let's take the left hand to your waist. So the back hand comes to the waist. You're going to hinge over that right leg and cross the forearm across the thigh, or have the hand on the thigh. So making sure that both sides of your spine stay nice and long. So if you're starting to round, if your forearm comes down, maybe the hand is a better placement for that. The chest still stays to the side, and in fact, you kind of rotate the ribs up a little bit towards the ceiling, and then that upper arm hinges over at an angle, reaching long and tall through the fingertips, pressing through that back heel, sinking into the hips, reaching through the wrists, the elbow, the armpits, and keeping space around the neck and the shoulders. And once you get the mechanics of the shape, you're breathing deeply. And then pushing through the feet, inhale, coming up through warrior two, hinging back up, straightening that right leg, turn the toes toward the side, hands to the waist. Pausing here for a moment and feeling the difference between your left leg and your right leg, left hip, right? Okay, then pivoting over to the other side. So left knee turns out, keep the chest facing to the side. So you're just working on shifting the hip out to the side, yeah? And then the back toes roll in, heel rolls back out, bending into that knee, coming into warrior two, legs in the second side. And then from the legs, rise up into the spine, broaden the collarbones, reach out to the fingers, and turning your gaze over your left fingertips. So the cervical spine just turns. The legs are strongly pressing down and away. Toes are spreading. Lifting up to the crown of the head. The breath is long and deep. So once you find the shape, you can breathe deeply, absorbing the benefits of this shape. And then your next breath, your backhand, right hand comes to the waist, shifting out and over, either cross the forearm across the thigh or hand comes to the thigh. Both sides of the ribs stay long, so you're not rounding in one side. Nice. The chest still stays to the side, and then the backhand maybe comes up overhead at an angle. Side angle pose. So the leg and the arm are all at the same angle. Pushing the feet down in a way, sinking into those hips, bearing weight through the pelvis, through the legs, through the femurs. Nice. And then inhale, coming up through warrior two, straightening that left leg, turn the toes toward the side, hands to the waist, and just pausing here for a moment, noticing left side and right side. So giving that body, like we were trying to, hold the attention to the fingers coming all the way down next to your side to the very last bottom of your exhale. So this movement from pose to pose, take a moment to notice the body, the sensations in between each of the shapes, right? Okay, now we're going to heel toe the feet a little bit closer together, not quite as far as we were. So now they're more underneath your elbows. We're going to come into triangle pose here. You're going to shift your right toes toward the right, left toes in again. So again, the chest still stays to the side, pressing them down through the feet. Rise up through the crown of the head, reach the fingers out to the side wall. Side body's long. Pushing the feet down and away. Take an inhale here and exhale. You're going to hinge over the right leg. Now the arms could stay out like an airplane, or you could take that back hand down while you figure out where the right hand's going to land. So maybe it lands on your knee or your shin, keeping both sides long. As you feel like the upper body's rounding, you've gone too far. So you want to keep both sides long. And then maybe the left arm reaches to the ceiling, or maybe the left hand stays on the waist. Nice. Pushing the feet down and away, keeping the stimulus in the legs and the hips. Triangle is very much about strong legs. And you're thinking mountain pose with the torso, activity and responsiveness through the fingertips wherever they are. Space between the ears and the shoulders. And then pushing through the feet, inhale, coming up, widen the arms, long, tall spine, and then just pivot the feet around to the other side for triangle pose on the other side. Chest stays to the side. Take an inhale here. Exhale, hinging over. Maybe the right hand waits on the waist while the left hand finds its connection to the left leg. Keeping both sides long. So if you've rolled over and rounded, you've gone too far. You want to stay long. You don't have to go that far to get that connection to the legs. Maybe the right arm reaches to the ceiling. The feet are pressing down and away from each other. Sinking into the hips. Breathing. And pushing through the feet. Inhale, coming up. Arms are wide. Turn the toes toward the side, hands to the waist. Nice. Okay, we're going to take the twisted triangle with the standing version here today. So you're going to turn the right toes toward the right, left toes in. And then looking down at your legs, are you standing on a balance beam, meaning one foot is in front of the other? Or can you separate the legs left to right? So what that'll look like is this is a balance beam. The feet are right behind each other. This is out to the side. I want you to have them separated left to right. Right? So the right foot is forward, left foot is back. And you're pushing through that left heel and then raise the left arm up overhead. So maybe connect from the left heel to the left pinky finger, holding onto the right waist. So your right foot is forward. Yeah. So do we all have the right foot forward? Or sorry, yeah. So if you don't have the right foot forward, switch over. And then take a long inhale here and then exhale, turning towards the right. You bring the left arm down to shoulder height. So you're taking the twist in the torso, but you're not bending forward. You're just turning towards the right. The left arm comes down to shoulder height. Pushing the feet, scissoring the feet away from each other. So this is standing twisted triangle without the fold. Pushing the feet down and away, rising up. Twisting the spine gently and gazing over your right shoulder. Breathing. And then inhale, turning back towards the front, raise the hand up overhead. And then bring the left hand down to your waist. And we're just going to switch sides by stepping the left foot forward and the right foot back. Okay. Or whichever side you were on. Okay, so one leg is forward, one leg is back. You raise the hand from the back leg. So the back leg arm comes up. So in my case, it's my right arm. Pressing up through the fingertips, reaching back to the heel. It's separated left to right. So you're not on a balance beam. Take an inhale here. Exhale, start turning towards the left, keeping upright and just lowering that right arm down to shoulder height. Like you were in your warrior 2 arm, right? From out from the shoulder. Gazing over your left shoulder. Scissoring the legs apart. Strong, strong legs. Breathing here. And then inhale, start to twist back to normal, bringing the hand up overhead. Exhale, bring the hands to your waist, step forward and come to your mountain pose and pausing there. Nice. All righty. We're going to come to our balancing pose. If you're welcome to bring your hands or your support system close by or move yourself to a supported position. And so shifting your weight from one leg over closer to your standing position, your supported position, wherever you are. Everybody has different sides of the support. You're going to bend the opposite knee and externally rotate that knee out to the side. And then bring the heel up either close to the ankle, lifting the toes off the floor, holding the waist so the hands have a project. You're rising up through the pelvic floor. And stay right here or move the foot up into the inner calf. Stay right here or bring the foot up into the inner thigh if your pants aren't too slippery. You could hold on to your support system and just play with removing the hand to balance slightly. Press down, rise up. Beautiful. Maybe change the position of your hands to challenge your center of gravity. Feel the weight bearing up into the leg, into the spine, long, long spine, lifting up to the belly. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, bring your hands back to your waist if you've moved those. Inhale, bring the knee forward. Exhale, let the foot come back down to the floor. Nice. And then switching sides. So come to your other side. Just shift your weight over to the other leg. Take all the weight bearing in that leg first, then bend the knee and externally rotate the hip. Connect the foot somewhere, either above the ankle, into the calf, or up into the inner thigh. Press down, rise up, maybe move the hands. Once you find your balance position, maybe hold the support and just moving the hand away. Building that proprioceptive sense, the balance, strength, flexibility, the responsiveness to all the little wiggles in the feet and the ankles. A lot of information coming into the body through our ankles. We need to have the nervous system respond to that in an appropriate manner. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, bring your hands back to your waist. Inhale, bring the knee forward, and exhale, let the foot come back down to the floor. Nice. Okay, you can move the support system out of the way. And then we're going to separate the feet out to the width of your mat. And turn your toes out, heels slightly in. Inhale, we'll swing the arms overhead. Exhale, bend the knees over the toes, push through the feet. Inhale, coming up, push all the way up overhead. Exhale, coming down, knees over the toes, push through the feet. Inhale, coming up. Exhale, down. One more time, up. And exhale, coming on down and hanging out in a squat wherever that is. Maybe it ends up with the hands on the thighs. Maybe it ends up with the forearms on the thighs. Maybe elbows and knees. Adjusting your feet so that your feet are flat on the floor and your knees are happy. Your spine is happy. Your breath is smooth. Buoyant in the legs, strengthening the legs, strengthening the pelvis, the spine, breathing here. Take one more breath here. And then exhale, we're going to come forward to hands and knees. So you can make your way forward to your hands and knees. Nice. And placing a blanket under your knees if you want some more padding or support. The palms are going to be right underneath your wrists, your palms are underneath your wrists and they're underneath your shoulders too. Your knees are underneath your hips. Your toes are pointing towards the back. They're on the tops of your feet. And then just lifting up to the lower belly to secure the spine. Feel this position here. Just feel where the shoulders are. Now for a moment, just drop the chest into between the shoulders. So you're dropping the chest. Feel how you kind of lose some integrity in there. We want to press back up through the palms, lifting up to the chest and the belly, kind of being buoyant in the upper shoulder blades. And now take your left foot back behind you and press into the ball of the foot, reaching through the heel. Draw the lower belly in and up, reaching through the heel, lengthening to the calf, one leg at a time. Spreading the fingers wide. One more inhale here. And exhale, just bend that knee back down to the floor and we'll switch sides. So take the right foot back, press into the ball of the foot, reaching through the heel, the lower belly Draws up to the spine. You're buoyant in the arms. You're balanced up over the wrists. Lengthening from the tailbone to the crown of the head. Space between your ears and shoulders stays long. Take one more inhale here. And exhale, let that right knee come back down to the floor. And shift back over to the left foot. Left foot steps back, press into the ball of the foot. Reach into the heel, lift up to the belly. Got that down. Keep the left hand down. Take your right hand forward and face the palm towards the center. So you're rolling the right shoulder away from the ears. Lift up to the lower belly. Push the back foot off the floor to hip height and reach in opposite directions. Keep the belly lifting. The hips are even, so I'm trying not to hike the left hip off the ground. Take one inhale here and exhale, bend the knee and the elbow so you're drawing just the limbs in toward each other. The spine doesn't move. Inhale, reach them apart. Exhale, bending the left knee, right elbow, just drawing them straight back and forth. Inhale, reach them apart. And one more time, exhale, bending them in, keeping the spine neutral. Inhale, reach them apart. On this exhale, let the right hand come down and the left knee come down. And you pause in there. Nice. Okay, shifting to the other side. Right leg steps back, press into the ball of the foot, reaching through the heel. So you're really grounded up into the hip. Round down to your right hand. Your left hand comes forward, palm faces the center, so the shoulder stays away from rolls away from the ear. Lift up to the lower belly, push the right foot off the floor to hip height. Try not to hike that right hip up. The lower belly draws in and up, and you're pressing down with that right hand. Reach in opposite directions of the floating limbs as you inhale. Then exhale, just bend the knee and the elbow forward, keeping the spine neutral. Inhale, reach them apart. Exhale, drawing them in. Inhale, reach apart. Exhale, drawing in. One more time, inhale, reach. And exhale, let the hand and knee come back down to the floor. Nice. Okay, let's come into a plank from here. You can choose to keep your palms on the floor or maybe come onto your knuckles. Or if you prefer to be on your forearms and do a low plank, you're welcome to do that. But both legs step back as we did before with one at a time. Both legs are coming back. Choosing the arm position that works for you. Lifting up to the lower belly. Pressing the palms and lifting the belly back to the spine. Long, tall spine. One more inhale here. And exhale, bend your knees to the floor and lower your elbows. If you haven't already come there, come all the way down to the floor on your belly. And then bringing your hands underneath your shoulders, spreading your palms wide, draw your elbows back. So your forearms are off the floor. Your elbows are drawing back next to your rib cage. Your chin is neutral. Bring your toes close together and then lift the nape of the neck just for a little cobra. The chest comes forward, nape of the neck long. The hands could stay underneath your shoulders and press into the mat to help you lift up. Or you could use more of the spine by releasing the weight from the hands and just drawing the elbows back, like you're pinching the shoulder blades together. Reaching the toes toward the end of your mat. The tailbone follows the toes. Breathing here. And exhale, slowly lower the chin, lower the hands, straighten the arms. Bring the back of the hands on the floor with the arms straight, palms facing up next to your hips. And then we'll lift up into locust from here. So the soles of the feet come off the floor, lift the nape of the neck off the floor, chest comes forward. The back of the hands could stay on the mat for stability, or maybe they raise off the mat, palms lifting up to the ceiling. Lengthening through the body, reaching through the legs, strengthening the back. Breathing. Take one more inhale here. Exhale, slowly lower back down to the floor. And then I want you to take just the left arm forward. So the left arm comes forward, straight up off towards the end of your mat. So your arm is reaching up overhead, essentially. Your right arm is down still long next to your body. And now you're just going to lift the right leg and the left arm. So opposite arm, opposite leg. So right leg comes off the floor, left arm comes off the floor, chest comes off the floor. Maybe up to the ribs, maybe not quite as far, but you're reaching and lengthening cross body. And exhaling, coming on down. And then switching sides. So your left arm comes back alongside your body. Right arm reaches up overhead. Palm faces the center, so the shoulders away. And then you'll lift the sole of your left foot off the floor, lift the right arm off the floor. Cross body lengthening, lifting. Notice if one side is a little harder than the other. And exhale, coming on down. Nice. Now lift both arms up overhead. Toes come together. Then lifting the soles of the feet off the floor. Lift the nape of the neck off the floor. And reach the arms up off the floor. Breathing here, reaching long. Maybe the arms are a little wider. That might be a little more conducive to your shoulders. Choose. Breathing here. Nice. And then exhale, coming on down. And bend your elbows, place your hands underneath your shoulders, draw yourself up through hands and knees to come to a nice gentle child's pose. And either the knees stay together or maybe they come a little wider as the hips slip back towards the heels. The arms could stay forward or they could come back alongside your body. Head maybe on the floor or on a block if you have that handy, or a blanket or pillow. Releasing into this gentle forward fold. Breathing here. On your next inhale, you can bring yourself back up to a neutral position. If it's comfortable to stay on your knees, go ahead and stay on your knees like this, or you can move to a seated position. You can roll over and cross your legs and sit down on the floor. We're going to take just a gentle twist to the side here. So if you're staying on your knees, you'll take your right hand over to your left thigh. I'll mirror you. And your left hand will come to your sacrum behind your back. So the back of the hand may be on your sacrum. Yeah, that's probably the most. And then turn belly, heart, chin. Just gently gaze over your left shoulder. If you're sitting down, same thing. You can just use a knee to cross over. Feeling the stretch through the belly space, through the rib cage, in the neck, and even the gaze, the eyes are stretching over to the side. And then inhale, looking forward first, and exhale and twist the rest of the spine, release the hands. And we'll come to the other side. You can place the hand on the outside of the right thigh, left hand back of the hand on the sacrum, turning belly, then heart, then chin, gazing over your right shoulder. Spine stays long, just turning belly, heart, and chin. And then inhale, looking forward first. Exhale, untwisting second. And then if you're on your knees, you're going to roll off one thigh and come back down to a seated position. We're going to actually make our way down to the lying onto our backs from here. So you can slowly make your way down, lying on your back. Nice. And then adjusting your hips and your shoulders so your spine is neutral. The knees are bent, and bring the heels up close to your hips as best you can, and they're hip distance apart. Now, if you have a block handy, you could place a block between your thighs to keep some reference to your thigh. Your arms are going to be alongside your body. And bend your elbows and face your palms across from one another above your belly, like you're holding onto a block between your palms. And then you're pressed down through the feet and lift the tailbone off the floor. Press into the back of the arms, maybe rock your shoulders a little closer to get up on top of the shoulder blades. Pressing evenly through the feet. Notice if you're more on the toes or more on the heels. See if you can press evenly through the feet and lift the tailbone a little higher, using the strength of the back body. So the similar shape as we were just doing from our belly, but we're accessing it from a different reference point, pressing down and rising up. Breathing here. And then slowly releasing the tailbone down to the floor. Release the arms and straighten your left leg out long. Straighten it down and flex your foot like you're standing on that. So maybe it feels like you've backed up next to a wall and you're standing up next to a wall with your back on the floor, which you can pretend is a wall. And draw the right knee up to your chest. So both hands come around the front of the shin maybe, or use the strap on the foot. You can choose whatever works for you. So if you have a strap, you can strap it around the ball of the foot and work on straightening the leg. If you don't have a strap, you might as well just keep the knee bent and draw the knee up close to the chest. The tailbone is heavy and long, and think of that pelvic floor. So the sit bones are drawing toward one another, pubic bone, tailbone drawing toward one another. And as you move the leg closer to your chest, whether the leg is straight or not, notice if the lower back is collapsing to the floor. So if you can keep the natural curve of your lower back, and we'll work more in the hip socket. Breathing here. Take one more inhale here, and then exhale. If you have the strap, put both straps in your right hand. Your left hand is going to come on top of your left hip point, keeping the pelvis rooted there. And you rotate that right leg out to the side in the hip socket, just as far as you can keep that left hip rooted, or whatever the range of motion is in your hip to come out to the side. You're holding it up with your hand or the strap and reaching actively through that left heel. And actually the floating foot, the right foot is active too. So you're spreading the toes. So both feet are active. You're not just going along for the ride. And then slowly inhale, bring that right leg back to the center. Let the right leg straighten out down next to the left foot and pause for a moment before you do anything. Just notice right side and left side, front side, back side. Nice. And then keeping the right leg nice and straight, pretending you're standing on that leg, draw the left knee up, either hugging the knee up close to your chest or using a strap around the ball of the foot and straightening through the calf. Sinking into the hip socket, but keeping that lower back in its natural curve state. So you're keeping the pelvis neutral. The lower belly drawing in and out to secure the front of the spine. Breathing. Nice. And then keeping the strap in your left hand or the left hand in your left knee rather, and then your right hand removes and presses down on the top of your right hip point to keep the pelvis neutral, and then you're rotating the left leg out to the side with one arm. So you're reaching through that right heel, keeping the right pelvis, the right side of your pelvis on the ground as best you can. It does get light, no matter how much of range of motion you have in the left hip, but we want to keep it from coming completely off the floor, because then you're just moving the pelvis and not working in the hip socket. And then inhale, slowly rotate that left leg back and the hip socket back to neutral. And let it come down and meet the right, and pause there for a moment. Nice. And release the strap if you have the strap. Release the arms out to the side a little wider than your mat. And then bend both knees and place the feet on the edges of your mat. So we'll come to our windshield wipers. So your knees are bent, your feet are out wide as your mat. Take an inhale here and slowly lower both knees over to one side, rocking over to the side of your feet. And then inhale, coming back up, and exhale over to the other. And this way your pelvis does rotate off of the floor. So more the opposite hip does come off the floor as you take a bit of a low back twist. Slowly moving with your breath back and forth. The wider the feet are, the more they have room to move in the hip socket. So out to the edge of the mat at least. And just rocking, and maybe rocking the skull too. So you know that rock and gaze over the shoulder of where your knees are going. Your knees go to the right, you gaze over to the left, and vice versa. So the palms facing up is usually a better position for the shoulders. You can try, see what that feels like for you, either palms up, palms down. And just tracing the energy as you move back and forth with your breath cycles, synchronizing movement and breath. And the toes and ankles, knees and hips. Finding this gentle movement, similar to the gentle movements we tried to do at the very beginning of class, where you're just kind of shifting from one foot to the other. Next time you come to your left-hand side, let your knees come over to the left. And then from the knees off to the left, they're off onto the left side. You push a little bit through the right heel to internally rotate that hip a bit more. And if it feels okay, then you can take your left ankle maybe on top of the right thigh to give it a little extra weight for that internal rotation of your right hip. If that doesn't feel okay, just take the foot off the thigh, letting the shoulders rest evenly on the floor. Gaze is up to the ceiling. Your breath is still flowing. And then slowly release the left foot to the floor. If it's on your thigh, inhale, bring both knees up. Exhale, let both knees come over to the right. Once you get there, you push a little bit through the left heel. Maybe take the right ankle on top of the left thigh. A little bit more weight in there. If that doesn't feel comfortable, just take it off. Don't worry about that. It's optional. And then releasing that right foot down to the floor if it's on your thigh. Inhale, bring both knees up. And then we'll bring the knees up to the chest, like you can hug the knees up to the chest, rock the sacrum, or maybe if you feel like a happy baby would feel good, maybe you hold on to the heels of your feet and draw the knees up wide next to the rib cage, just kind of rocking gently on the back of your sacrum. And then go ahead and release the legs back down to the mat. Bring them wider than your mat. Legs are straight and wide. Arms are out wide. So you're in the 5-pointed star, lying on the floor. Adjusting your hips and your shoulders so the spine feels perfectly supported and even. Palms usually facing up feels the most releasing of the shoulders, but you choose. Palms up, palms down. And feel the full weight of your body being supported by the surface beneath you. Feel the full expanse of the space all around you. And if this feels like the right position for your Shavasana, you're welcome to stay right here or get anything you need to be comfortable and supported for your Shavasana, your final resting position. And releasing all the efforts in your body. Release the tongue from the roof of the mouth. Release your jaw, release your neck. Release down through your shoulders to each of your elbows, your wrists, and all your fingers. Let your breath just float away as you release down your spine, through your hips, through each of your knees, your ankles, and all your toes. And just take the last few moments of class in stillness, absorbing all the benefits of today's practice. Begin to deepen your breath. And spread your fingers and toes. And draw your legs together, arms overhead for a nice long stretch. And bending one knee at a time, roll over to one side and pause there for a moment. And using your hands and your arms, gently make your way up to a seated position. And thank you so much for sharing your practice and your energy and your breath. May your hearts be filled with loving kindness. May you be peaceful and at ease. May you be healthy and well nourished. And may you be happy. Namaste. Thank you so much. Thanks for getting on the mat today. We got here. Yay.
Thank you, Mary Beth. That was wonderful.
You're welcome. Have a great day. If you have any questions, let me know. I'll turn off the recording.